Some people live in denial. Don't be one of those people. I think that's a pretty good title. I might tweak it a bit, but yeah, we're gonna get straight into it. Basically, some people live in complete denial of their reality. They don't accept things, which we'll go over. That's the whole thing, the solution, blah blah blah. And because of that, they live a miserable life, and nothing works out for them. So you shouldn't be one of those people that live in denial. Now, for example, okay, this kind of stems from the thing of life isn't fair, and just shit happens. Just life can be shit sometimes. Shit happens. There's a lot of things that aren't good about this world. You have to accept them, you know? And also, yeah. So, yeah, I actually just fucked up my audio already to like a minute into this video. I don't know how I did that. But, what was I saying? I genuinely forgot what I was saying. Fuck, I'm gonna have to listen to it again. Okay, so yeah, I did an example I could use for this of people living in denial is, say someone is now no longer in your life. Maybe they moved away, broke up, or they died. You know, that is a big thing that can happen. That because people are so emotionally attached and there and memories and this and that and that and everything. Someone dying can be such a like tremendous thing, and some people just don't accept that. Like, so it can be such a shock and disrupt people's lives that it's so painful to be like, that person died, and accept that properly to that person, that their brain subconsciously just goes into denial. Like, how are you gonna you're thinking like, how are you gonna deny someone dying? But like, people do that. They will hold on to something that isn't there anymore. You know, like, they will go through all their old stuff and keep looking at all the old photos or whatever, and times they keep thinking about all the stuff they had, you know, and that, like, they will keep doing that instead of accepting that someone is dead. They will keep trying to relive the past while they're still alive, for example. But it doesn't work because they're no longer here. You have to accept that. You have to accept that something fucked in life has happened, and that they're no longer there. And until you can accept that person's gone from your life, then you can move on. Then you can heal from it. But some people can't, and it's not necessarily like their fault and everything, but it's something our brain does. That's why the whole thing, 5 stages of grief is like, first one's denial, and then it's like acceptance, and then it's like this acceptance is the last one. It's like denial, then anger, then bargaining or some shit. Like, so like, actually no, I'm gonna pull it up right now so I can like tell you my exact thing I mean. So 5 state, fuck, you're not gonna be able to see this, but I'll just have it on screen for me. So yeah, it's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. So say for example, the traumatic thing is someone has died. Well, they'll go on to denial, and they will try to relive their past. Like, you think you can't deny someone's dead if they've literally died and you've seen it, but they will deny it by trying to relive the past and only thinking of all the past things that happened. And I'm not saying you shouldn't look at the good things that have happened with them in the past and everything to remember them. I'm not saying you shouldn't remember them, but some people excessively only do this as a form of denial. And once you have accepted that they're gone and they're not coming back, well, then you can move on. In here, for 5 stages of grief, there's anger. So some people, after they realize that this thing that they had or whatever, once they've accepted that it's gone, then they've realized their mind has finally accepted it's gone, well, they get really angry, you know? Like, why is this thing gone? Like, this is my thing, and it helped me so much in life, and it's gone now, are you kidding me? Like, it gets them angry. And then after they've accepted, remember, acceptance is the whole thing to this. Once they've accepted that, yep, it's gone, and they've kind of accepted the being angry on this, well, they can go on to bargaining. Now, with bargaining, it's like, how do I do this for someone that's dead? Well, they're like, they're kind of like, I don't, you know, they keep, they go and look at some of the old stuff. Oh, it's kind of like the thing of like, oh, they can't be dead. No, like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to change my thing of what I was, my example, because it's actually too complex for me to actually properly explain it. I'm going to change it from someone who's dead to someone who, like, you broke up with them, for example, like they broke up with you or something. So the first stage, denial, like, but we're broken up now, like, no. And they, like, keep trying to talk to you, you know? They keep trying to talk to you and be like, no, but, like, you're over me. Like, no, that can't be happening. Like, I want to get back with you. That's, like, the denial. And then once they accept, remember, acceptance is the thing. Once they accept that, they get angry. Like, what? Like, why? And by the way, I don't think this is, like, happens to everybody. Like, I think some people skip some stages or whatnot, but this is just an example. The next one is anger, and they're like, they get angry at you. Like, you really broke up with me. You really got over me. Like that makes them angry once they've accepted that it's happened. And then once they've accepted being angry, they go on to bargaining of like, no, but like we still could get back together if I do this certain thing, or if no, but the reason why we broke up was this, but I fix this now. Like, can we please get back together because of that? Get back together because of this thing I've done. You know, that's kind of bargaining, or like, and doing certain things to like, oh no, like I guess it happened, but like we can still fix it, right? We can still make it happen. And then once they've gotten over their bargaining phase and they realize that no, they're no longer coming back in your life, they can go into the depression phase where they get really sad about it. Like this person that was everything to me, they're gone, and they get really sad about it. Like once they've gone through everything else, they've accepted that they've no longer denying it. They've realized it's a reality, and it makes them really sad. Reality, life not being fair, shit happens, makes them really sad, and it makes them depressed. And you know, like, oh, what's the point anymore if this person, blah blah blah, is my everything, blah blah, it's not my world. And that's the depression one. And then once you've finally accepted the being like sad one, like once you're sad, and then you finally accepted that, you know, there's no really point being sad any longer for them because like they literally are not coming back in my life, then you can move on to acceptance. Yeah, acceptance being the final stage makes sense, but you also have to accept each stage for it to happen. I guess, yeah, like acceptance, you have to accept it throughout, yeah. But that's where denial makes people miserable. Now, I guess I can use a personal example for this of like breakup, where I recently broke up with my girlfriend, right? And it gotten put to the point where we both just didn't, we just both had enough of each other, right? So she brought up to me, she's like, don't want to be together anymore. I'm like, yep, I fucking don't either. Is this your final, like, is this your final thought? Your final thing? She's like, yep, it is. I'm like, okay, good. I don't want to be together. That's fine. And left it. But then a couple of days later, someone's in denial. They start texting me. Or they start trying to text me but I said from the start I don't want to text someone that I'm not with, so it didn't really work. But that's a denial response. And they like come up to me and they'd be like, and they come up to me and like, why are you ignoring me? Why aren't you answering a text? And I told her, like, I don't do that anymore. You knew that from the start. And they go into denial of like, oh, so, wait, no, you can't be over me yet because like, oh, we did all this stuff together, blah blah blah. Like, you know, you're over me. Like, they can't really seem to. And then I'll tell them all the things of reasons of why I got over them. Like already, like it's because I accepted. Basically, I realized, oh, this thing wasn't actually that great. This thing, there's a lot of things that you did, there's a lot of things I did, blah blah blah, led to the degradation of a relationship, and I accepted that. I'm like, yep, that's a fact. You know, that's not good. Guess we will accept that and move on. But she didn't move on, and she was, you know, in denial of it. So like, oh well, you kind of given up. You got over me already, like that kind of thing. And then I think bargaining was the one she went to afterwards, like once they got really desperate, fucking she kept fucking annoying me and shit, and like of like no, but like I once she came up to me and she's like, I still care for you, like I heard blah blah blah, you did something this morning, like I still care for you, what's happened? And I'm like, told her like, no, I don't want to talk to you, it's over. I told you from the start, if this happens, you're not going to talk to me, and that's it. Like, I've been trying to be as respectful and, you know, everything as possible, be as nice as possible. But she's like bargaining and just went fucking give up. And she's like blah 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 blah. Like no, like you careful, but like how could you got over this? Like you can't, this can't be. And no, here's the thing of her living denial is that I told her straight to her face a couple of reasons just off the top of my head why I wouldn't get back to her and why it would no longer work. I told her like if it got to the point of us not wanting to be together anymore, then what would happen if we got back together is that it would be good for a couple of weeks or to a month, and then once that period's over, everything would start going bad again because we are still the same people that we were during the relationship, and the same things that we did that made it like slowly break apart would keep happening, you know. Like they would keep happening, and it would lead to the same thing, if not probably quicker this time, because like, you know, we've already got over like the phase of like of it being new to us and everything. It would just happen again, and I like told her everything, like no, but like the same thing is like if I did it again, it would just same result. I'm not going backwards, blah blah blah, etc etc, many other things off the top of my head. And no matter what I said, it didn't even fucking process in her mind. I could see it when I was talking to her, in her eyes. I could see the only reason she was talking to me was to try and get back with me. Like that, her agenda was the only thing on her mind. Like everything I was saying, she wasn't even properly listening to me. Everything she was saying, she was like, she would purposely and exact. These are the wrong words to say the right. I have this thing in my mind. I'm trying to say. I'm finding the wrong words to say it like usual, but like she just wouldn't accept it. She wouldn't go, oh, okay. That's a thing that would happen. I get that. Okay. No, she was like, but no. A good example of her denying stuff is that in the last 2 weeks of a relationship, as everything kind of fell apart, she started to ignore me, right? And now I told her this. That's like, I told her it's like, no, like by the end of it, you're literally starting to ignore me. I don't want to associate with someone who's done that to me. That's like a no-go, no, like fuck off forever type shit. That's a no-go thing. And like, as I said, you started ignoring me the last 2 weeks, where the last couple days she did quite literally ignore me for whole days, and like give like the most dry response at the end, like once in the day or some shit. Even though she literally did that, and it's literally right there, she can go on her phone and scroll back to those fucking messages and look at them. Guess what? I said that to her face, and she's like, no, I wasn't ignoring you. Like, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's right there in front of her. She literally did it, but she's literally denying that she didn't, because if she accepted it, she would accept a valid reason why getting back with me wouldn't be a thing, which would, you know, she's living in denial kind of thing. So yeah, I don't even know where the fuck I am in the video anymore, but that's just that's just a rant of how that's an example of living in denial, and that isn't good. Don't be one of those people that lives in denial, because guess what? Her trying to getting back with me after we broke up, and I told her from the start that I would never get back with anyone that I broke up with. It made her more miserable, you know, because if she went, okay, we're done now, and she actually tried to process the emotions, you know, she cried it out, she did this, it's over, okay, and she started to accept that, she would actually start to feel a lot better a lot sooner. But because she didn't do that, because she lived in denial of it all, she's just like live in constant misery, because she's trying to do something, but that thing is impossible to do. She was trying to get back with me, but like I was saying, no, that's not a thing that's happening. She's chasing something that is literally impossible, and it's honestly sad to see. You know, it's just like I tried to help her as much as I could. I told her like to her face everything that like why it wouldn't work and everything, blah blah blah, and she literally couldn't process it in her mind. If we linked it back to the other video of how your perspective shapes your world, her perspective was that we could get back together or whatever, and because of her perspective of that, anything I said that didn't align with her belief of that we could get back together, it literally would not process in her mind. It would literally like not enter in, and she would not process it, and she would not, and the reason why she wasn't in denial is because it's a response like by your brain. It's because because us not getting back together, that's painful for her. So it's very hard for her. And it was even hard for me, but I knew that I had to accept it. But because it's so hard for her, and like it's so bad for her that her brain just subconsciously, naturally, just denies the thing of us not getting back together as a thing. It literally just denies it, because it doesn't want that to be a reality. But the thing is, us not getting back together again. That is reality. So living in denial means you're not living in like true reality. You're living in your own bubble that is just fucked, and you just live in misery when you're in denial. That's why you shouldn't be one of those people that lives in denial, because it just doesn't work. You have to accept things, and even your own emotions. Like, you have to accept emotions, otherwise they subconsciously build up and just fuck yourself up. Oh, every fucking male on this planet knows what I'm talking about. Of if you just bottle up your emotions, they just they just come crashing out at the worst times and make you literally emotionally unstable, and it's just bad and just not good. Which is like, you need to process things. Like, it's like after we broke up, I accepted it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I don't, and because of my whole thing of like, never go backwards. You never get back with someone you broke up, because it will never work, because the same things that happened that made you break up will just happen again, and they'll happen again. If it happen again, you just never fucking do that. But because of that, I literally forgot what I was saying while I was saying it. I hate my fucking brain. I really hate when that happens, when I forget what I'm saying as I'm saying it. I'm literally going to have to listen to what I just said to finish off my point. I fucking hate my brain. No, but it's okay, because I accepted that my brain's a bit fucked sometimes. So, yeah, what was I saying? So, because I accepted it. So I accepted it, but I also had to accept the emotions that came with it, because when you break up for someone that you have such a deep attachment and love to, it hurts you. So, I went home, I like cried out what I needed to cry, and all while accepting that it was over. And then, I kind of spoke to my close friends and family about the whole situation, just, because different blah, 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 different perspectives are good. And it just helps you also to kind of get over the whole thing faster, just like go through the stages. But because like by like 2 or 3 days in, I was almost like already like 70% over, and like, because I'd simply accepted it, and I'd also accepted the sad emotions that came with it, but also anger, because during the relationship, resentment did build up inside of me. And as like, for even just an example of like what I said happened in the last 2 weeks, where she started slowly ignoring me, that builds up resentment inside of you. And there's also a lot of other things she did, which just, weren't the best, that made me, without realize, build up resentment towards her, which I guess they all came out once we broke up, because, I allowed all the sad stuff out. But then my brain also actually started fucking thinking again, and I was like, wait, she did all these blah, blah, blah things, and this all happened. And like, I finally realized that like, I would feel angry. But when I felt angry, like, I would be crying, I'd be sad, and then I would feel angry, but when I felt angry, I wasn't like, oh no, this is anger, this is bad, you should repress it. I was like, no, it's good, you should feel it through. Like, don't go and fucking punch someone, but just sit by yourself alone and just feel it through and go, okay, yeah, I'm angry, okay, why am I fucking angry? And then just like, oh yeah, this reason because of this and this that happened, that makes sense. And then once you realize that, you shouldn't be like, oh, but she did this is fucking bad, blah blah blah, she's a bitch, blah blah. You just, like, once you realize those things that happened, I was just kind of like, oh yeah, that happened, and I accepted that was a thing that happened in the past, and I'm like, yep, that's why resentment built up in me. Now that I know I've processed it, I can let it go. I can let it go. And I did that for the anger emotions I felt, and I did that for the sad emotions I felt. That's why, like, literally a couple days in, I was already, like, no, literally one day later, I was already about, like, 60-70% of the way there already to, like, the whole getting over a thing, because, like, I simply let myself accept it. And because I let myself accept it, it, like, rapidly sped up the whole process and thing. So yeah, that's the whole thing of like acceptance is the not key, the I guess it kind of is the key, the resolution, the solution. That's the fucking word I was looking for, is the solution to denial. And acceptance does take you accepting things, but you also have to allow yourself to process things. That's also like even just traumas and stuff of like past things, or maybe your parents abused you as a child, or and then so yeah, so if you use that example, well, yeah, there'd be a lot of resentment, but also sad feelings, maybe guilt that built up. Maybe you felt it was your fault that you got treated like that, as like a, even though it wasn't. But eventually you have to realize that's there inside you. You can't deny it, because the more you deny it, the worse it gets, the more it builds up, the more emotionally unstable you become, because it's there. So you have to accept, like, okay, it's there. I'm fucked up from this. Yeah, I admit it. And once you admit it and you like, you're okay, this is the thing, and then you like process all the thoughts and all the feelings. Like, you just have to let yourself feel through it, and then you have to let yourself think through it. Just allow yourself to be, just be, just think through it, just feel it, and eventually it can like fucking, that type of abuse can take decades to get over, for some people, but you just have to accept it. And also, I feel like a lot of this stuff, oh my god, I just like started touching my lips, so I just like had a fucking aneurysm as I spoke. But a lot of this stuff comes out for people at extreme moments, because if you're going through your day-to-day 9-to-5 life, you're not really going to ponder and think and just fucking, it's not really going to come out like that. But for example, if you're a parent abused you in some form, and then as a child, blah blah blah, and then and then they die one day when they're older, and then you're an adult, so you can actually process your emotions properly. I need a cough. But that event of them dying, it like can trigger that stuff off. That's also another thing, is that triggers of that you kind of need, like, there's just certain events that need to happen in your life as a trigger for something else to happen, for growth to happen. I need a burp again. Oh my god. But yeah, hopefully you didn't hear that. I put my mic away from me. But yeah, you need triggers. You need triggers to trigger certain events to happen in your life, because that person dying would make you think about that parent, for example, dying would make you think about them, but also you'd probably have some sort of grief towards them or something, even if, like, depending on how much they actually cared for you and everything. And there would just be a lot of stuff that would be brought to the surface because of the situation. And once shit is brought to the surface, if you repress it, oh my god, you'll be so much more fucked over for the rest of your life, until you get something that triggers you to process it. Like, triggers that happen, they happen all the time in your life, and once one happens, you just have to learn to take it, grab it by the fucking nuts, and just do it, just accept it, just start the process. You have to. So yeah, I guess, yeah, acceptance is the solution to denial. Denial is bad. Again, another thing of accepting denial is that denial is not necessarily your fault. You have to also accept that it's just a thing that naturally happens. However, just because it's a thing that naturally happens doesn't like excuse it. Like, it's still a thing that happens, so you still have to overcome it. You can accept, okay, the reason why I'm denying it is because is that this thing is so painful to process that my brain is literally making me deny it, because it's so painful to process. Like, that's not my fault. However, what my fault is if it still affects my life, because it's still my responsibility to overcome that. If you have shit that's just cleaning out your closet, they call it, if there's shit left in your closet that's dark and there's fucking spider webs down there, and you don't want to touch it, but you have to do it, otherwise the spider web's gonna grow bigger, there's more spiders are gonna fucking come, and there's more just shit that's gonna collect up there until your whole closet's fucking full of spiders and spider webs, and you can't use any of it. Like, in this example, that would be your brain. The closet would be your brain. You can't use any of it until you've overcome this thing. That's just making a mess, See, the whole thing is acceptance, and I've recently, naturally, I guess, implemented acceptance more into my life, which has made it better. There's some things I probably could accept more, and I don't really currently realize them because I might have not had a trigger for them, but I can give you an example of something else. Is like, for example, my dad last year got cancer. It's incurable. It's fucking leukemia, blood cancer, and it also affects your bone marrow. So just everything in your body's fucked. You can't cure it. So yeah, that's that. And then this year he found out that it was getting worse, which means he has to get treatment, basically chemo, either that or some trial drug. I think he can try in Australia, because in Australia there's a trial drug I think that does the cancer type shit, but it isn't as fucked as literally just poisoning yourself with fucking radiation, um, which is what chemo is. So, and there's like, you can be I could be in denial of my dad having fucking cancer, and it could be building up inside of me, but it's not. And the reason it's not because I accept that. I've not only accepted that, but I could accept that. Well, I've already accepted him dying, if that makes sense. Like, I know one day he will die. That's a part of life. I'm not angry about that. I don't want to say I'm not sad, but I just like, okay, like, sure, if that happened, I would be pretty sad, but like, I accept that. It's the thing. I'm not angry about it. I'm not like in denial. I'm not like, oh, that could never happen. Or if that happened, my life would end. If that, my world would collapse. No, it's just a thing of life that will happen one day, and it's sad, but it will happen, and I'm prepared for if it ever happens. I don't think it will happen soon. I think what will happen is that it flares up. He has to get treatment for however many months he'll be in hospital, and then he'll come out, and then it'll flare up in however many months time, and then however many months later he gets treatment for however many months, and it's just a big old cycle, I'm pretty sure that's what it will be, unless it gets to fucking another stage eventually and he just fucking dies. I don't know. I don't think it will get to like that for a while. Like, I think it will just be this on and off process of him getting treatment and everything. But yeah, I think this whole process of accepting that I'm only 16, but I've already accepted that my parents are just going to die one day, and I'm like okay with that because my parents are older. I'm 16. My oldest brother's like 23 or something, which means that my dad, he's like 57 already, and my mum's like 50 or whatever. Like they're fucking a lot older. Like, if you think, they're pretty old for how young I am. Like, yeah, that, like, my brother's seven. Like, my oldest brother is 7 years. He's 7 years older than me. I was gonna say younger. 7 years older than me. So like, he's experienced 7 years more of like my parents, like 7 years younger of my parents. Like, I've never experienced that type of shit. I've just been born into this world with older parents. So I just go, like, I don't know, it's just been easier for me to accept, like, oh yeah, they're just gonna fucking die. It's just sad, but I think the saddest thing, like, yeah, probably last year, around once he got cancer, because once he got cancer, he started getting, some days he just gets very tired, and like, he can nowadays, like, back when I was like 8, for example, he could do all this shit. He could fucking clean the chicken coop, wash the car, do this shit, fucking rewire every fucking wire in this house, fix every fucking scratch off the sink, just clean the roof, just every fucking thing, and that's just an average Saturday fucking morning, and then by the afternoon he's done. He could do that, but now, he might only be able to do, the chicken coop, and then he could maybe wash the car, and then he has to go have a nap for the rest of the day, for example. Like, he has a lot less energy than he used to, and not only that, but last year, I think when he was like sick from something else, plus that, I just saw him very weak, and that was, sad to see, because your dad is supposed to be the strong thing of like your life, you know what I mean? And just seeing them sad, like, as when you're a child, like, even though I was fucking, this is just a long story for another day, blah blah blah, childhood trauma. Even though I was fucking terrified of my dad as a child, he'd still like was a strong male that I looked up to. He is kind of indestructible, you know what I mean, from my standpoint and whatnot. And when you see that mist of that curtain be pulled, and no, they're mortal. They're just gonna fucking die one day. Like, I saw him so weak. Like, I just had to help him with some basic things and stuff, and he wasn't like speaking as strongly as you would usually. Like, just like, he's quieter because he's because you're sick and everything, it just, and it was just sad. And I think, like, that was last year sometime, and I saw him just like in that weakened state, and it was just, it was fucking sad. But because like, that was really, like, I knew my dad was older, but that was the first sign of mortality I really saw of him, and yeah, that was fucking sad. But it's like, because I don't live in denial, because I actively try to accept things, just because of like, not even just like because someone told me to accept things one day and I just took that on board. This is literally just like a natural thing I do because of my past experiences and stuff, blah blah blah. I know I just naturally do this, but it's like, yeah, it's just the thing that happens, and I guess I accepted it. It was like, I probably felt a bit sad that day, but I accepted it, and now I'm just okay with it. Like, it is, of course it's sad and everything, but no, I'm okay with it. Like, that will just happen one day. It's like, I need a burp, so why do I need to fucking burp so much and cough so much whenever I'm talking? Well, I need to cough because I'm kind of still sick, but I hate the burping stuff. Why do I always have to burp so much when I'm talking? Why am I so fucking gassy? But, yeah, just that kind of thing. It's sad, but once it happens, don't live in fucking denial. You just got to accept things. It is sad, but it's how life is. Life isn't fair. Fuck, shit happens. Oh well, like, you just gotta keep moving on. And even bro, I had, so even I mentioned my breakup, that happened, I don't know, start of this month, but on the day that we broke up, some other shit happened, plus that was the day that my dad went with my mom to see the doctor to talk about this whole trial treatment shit, like when shit had just gone down. So like, it was just an absolute shit day, and just like more shit just kept happening. But like, also just another random thing I should say was that you just have to keep going in life. That you just have to accept, once you accept that shit just happens, you just can keep going. It's just so much easier. Like, I just accepted, yeah, fuck shit happens, and then fuck shit happened that day. There was so much, like, the most fuck shit happened to that day to me, and yeah, I just accepted. I just kept moving on. Like, yep, that broke up with my girlfriend. Let's just keep going through. Just get through this day of school. I got home. My dad and shit, mom, and went to the fucking cancer appointment. Yep, that's cool. All this other stuff happened at school that day. I probably hit my head that day. My body is probably aching from some random shit. Yeah, that's just fine. Just keep going. And by the end of the day, even though it was like the worst day I had in like a long time, I was a rock bottom. By the end of the day, because I just kept going and I just simply accepted it all, I was ready to accept a W when it came, you know what I mean? I received so much L's and I accepted them that by the end of the day, it was probably like 10 o'clock at night. But then I found, so there was this video recorded probably a couple weeks ago, and then I just lost the file to it. Like, I thought it was like gone forever. But then I was looking through my old beats, and then I accidentally found it, because it turns out I accidentally saved it to an old beat folder somehow. So that day, I just, at 10 o'clock at night, I just found this video that I thought was long lost, and I just refound it, and I was just like, yes, this is so good, this is my first W of the day, and I felt actually so good once that happened, that I just rode that fucking wave. I'm like, yep, first W, okay, I accept this W, let's just keep going. I'm just gonna ride this until the fucking dopamine, the whatever hit of finding that goes out. Like, even though I had the most fuck shit day, even in the end, I just felt good by the end of it, even though I just, like, yeah, I don't know, it was such a weird feeling. I don't even know how to describe it. I need to burp again. Oh my god. Yeah, it's just such a weird feeling of, like, everything just went wrong that day, and I don't know, it's just such a weird feeling of everything going wrong, but you just have this underlying baseline of, no, I'm not gonna fucking just lay down and die shit. Like, I just keep going, like. And I also probably just relate it to my it could be worse mentality. It's like, we didn't lose the house that day. Like, my dad went to cancer appointment. He didn't fucking die that day. I broke up with my girlfriend. I didn't fucking die that day. My friend didn't die. She didn't die that day. Like, so everyone's still alive. That's good enough for me. Let's just keep fucking going. I guess it has something to do with that. But that's also a whole thing of accepting things, and also accepting that, yep. Also, here's the thing with accepting that some people have it worse, is you also have to accept that sometimes, if something bad happens, like, just because someone had it worse doesn't make your thing any less bad. You still have to accept that it's bad, but you shouldn't wallow in your self-pity. Just go, okay, that's bad, but that, like, the thing I experienced is bad, but like, someone else experienced even worse bad. I'm glad, I'm grateful. That's another thing. Gratitude is really good in life. I'm grateful that I didn't have to experience the other thing that person happened. I actually would have rather experienced the fuck shit I had to experience today than the fuck shit they had to experience today. Yeah, let's just get on with life. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was just So yeah, denial. Don't fucking live in it. Don't be one of those people. Accept shit. That was a long rant. That's the type of rant I want to have on this channel. That was a good ass rant. How long is this shit? I don't even. I'm recording in FL because of I use thingo interface, audio interface for my mic. How long is this shit? 900 bars, 130p. But just tell me the fucking seconds. 30 minutes? Yeah. This is probably like 30 minutes something. But yeah, so denial, yeah, just don't live in it, blah blah blah. I also went over like self-pity and blah blah. I just went over the keep going life, just the fucking people have it worse, but that doesn't invalidate your thing. And I just went over a lot of things actually, and even personal stuff like breakup and my dad getting cancer and all this other shit, and just and things and stuff. And yeah, I just really went through it all. I mean, not even all. That's not everything that's happening in my life right now. I've even more just random bullshit happening, but yeah, that's the type of rant I like to have on this channel. That's a good rant. Yeah, I guess comment your perspective on anything that interested you on this video. Yeah, I don't know, just fucking yeah.